This Michigan team might be the best that Jim Harbaugh has had. You want to talk about being excited as a Wolverine fan? How about reading this Sports Illustrated article, which drops predictions featuring JJ McCarthy breaking Michigan's single-season touchdown passing record, Blake Corum winning the Heisman Trophy, and Michigan winning the national championship. Let's start with the offense, and most importantly, the offensive line. So Michigan has took home the Joe Moore Award each of the last 2 seasons, which goes out to the nation's best offensive line, and they're going to try to make it a three-peat. They have a really nice duo at guard with Keegan and Zinter. They were both first-team All-Big Ten selections last year, and they have more than 50 combined starts. They do have to replace their center, but that's why they went in the portal and got Nugent from Stanford. He started 12 games with the Cardinal last year and was a 2-time All-Pac-12 honorable mention. So he's what I'll call a quality get. Tackle is a little bit more interesting, but again, they utilized the portal, getting another transfer from Stanford. Miles Hinton, who comes in with 16 starts at right tackle. Also, Arizona State transfer Henderson comes in with 29 starts under his belt, 19 at left guard and 10 at left tackle. So some of these pieces have to work themselves out, but they have depth, they have experience. Michigan is going to have a very talented and capable offensive line again this fall. Running backs. Anybody have any questions? I don't. I guess you could say health, but I'm not really that concerned about Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards going into this year, and I don't really think it's up for debate. I think they are the best running back duo in the country. Both backs complement each other very well. Now, could Blake Corum actually win the Heisman, like that Sports Illustrated article referred to? Well, it is a quarterback award, and the last time a running back won the award was Derrick Henry in 2015. If you look at his numbers, he had a little over 2,200 rushing yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and 28 rushing touchdowns. Last year, Corum had over 1,400 rushing yards, 5.9 yards per carry, and 18 rushing touchdowns. So, at a glance, it seems like he's quite a bit off, but also he did miss some time last year with injury. But if he wants to win the Heisman, he's going to need his numbers. He would probably need at least 2,000 rushing yards and probably a minimum of 20 rushing touchdowns, but even that seems a little small. But I also don't think he gets those numbers because Donovan Edwards is going to be heavily involved. However, I will say this, the Michigan single-season rushing record is set at 1,818 yards. I think that's definitely attainable for Blake Corum. JJ McCarthy, could he break Michigan's single-season passing touchdown record? It's currently only set at 25 passing touchdowns, which is a lot less than I would have thought, but I guess that makes sense when you think about what Michigan's offensive philosophy is and what it has been. JJ threw for 22 passing touchdowns last year, so a third-year guy, former 5-star, has experienced nearly a full season of being a starter underneath him. Definitely possible, and I would probably bet that he does break that record. Defensively, ESPN thinks the Wolverines will be pretty darn good, giving them the number 2 spot in their defensive rankings. Last year, the Wolverines finished in the top 10 nationally in points allowed and yards per play allowed. TCU definitely highlighted some vulnerabilities, as we all saw in the CFP semifinal. You also get your defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, back. He was a Broyles Award finalist last year, and maybe he brings home that award as the nation's top assistant coach. In terms of their schedule, it is another week out of conference slate of games. All 3 of those games are at home versus East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. Even going into Big Ten play, they go to Nebraska, to Minnesota, home versus Indiana, before playing Michigan State on the road October 21st, which I guess will be their first test of the season, but I don't think the Spartans are going to sneak up and bite the Wolverines. It is a rivalry game, and weird things can happen, just like the 2021 season, except this year Michigan State does not have Kenneth Walker. Home versus Purdue the following week, then an interesting 3-game stretch at Penn State, at Maryland, and home versus Ohio State. So if they are going to lose a regular season game, I think it's going to be one of those 3, Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State, and I really would probably think Penn State, I guess, is what's jumping out at me. The Nittany Lions have some serious firepower. 5-star quarterback Drew Aller. Also, another really nice running back duo, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, combined for nearly 2,000 rushing yards last year as true freshmen. So I think this might be a Penn State team that's a year too early. I think 2024, they could be really, really good, but they're definitely good enough to sneak up and bite you, especially this being a home game for Penn State. Maryland could cause fits. Mike Locksley is actually building a solid program, but also it's the week before the big Ohio State rivalry game. I look at the game last year, week 12 against Illinois. I know Blake Corum got hurt, but again, it's the week before the big top 5 showdown versus Ohio State. So it's kind of inevitable, not that you get caught looking ahead, but it's definitely in the back of your mind knowing you're a week out from Ohio State. Speaking of the Buckeyes, as of now, I don't think Ohio State's beating Michigan. Michigan is the current king of the Big Ten. They have Ohio State's number. They have a game plan, and they know it works. They've made good adjustments in terms of their preparation for the game. And now it's Ryan Day's turn to make some adjustments and prepare better. I still think there are questions that the Buckeyes have to answer. And as of right now, on paper, Michigan looks like the better team. So then possible third straight Big Ten championship, third straight college football playoff appearance. Of course, you would love a national championship, especially with this team and how talented it is. The next step is winning a college football playoff semifinal game. Let's see if the Wolverines get it done this year.